you arrive at a wall. It rises before you like quiet authority, unyielding and complete. Your hands brush against it, and it feels like everything you know about solidity, weight, and permanence is concentrated in that simple surface. Your mind whispers that nothing passes here. But as you lean closer, you notice something strange, something almost imperceptible. The wall is not entirely certain. It trembles in the soft light of possibility, in ways that ordinary senses cannot detect. This is the quantum world, where reality is woven from probabilities rather than absolutes. You step closer, your senses opening to a rhythm beneath the visible, beneath the concrete. In this realm, a particle, tiny and fleeting, approaches the barrier. Classical thought tells you it should stop, bounce back, retreat to where it came from. And yet, with a quiet, almost mischievous grace, it slips through, as if the wall itself had decided to become mist, to allow passage where none should exist. You pause, letting the image settle. Imagine a small stone, rolling toward a hill far taller than itself. In ordinary life, it cannot cross, gravity and form conspire against it. But in the world you now inhabit, the stone has a chance, a shadow of possibility, to find itself on the other side. The chance is tiny, almost imperceptible, yet it exists. It is not magic, it is the poetry of nature speaking in a language older than thought. As you watch, you notice the subtlety of the act. The particle does not bulldoze, does not leap in violence, it moves in quiet negotiation. The barrier is both there and not there. The wall whispers to the particle, perhaps you may pass, and, in a way, it yields. There is no struggle, only the soft unfolding of what could be. You realize that possibility is a gentle force, and it shapes the world just as profoundly as certainty. You walk along the surface of your imagined wall. Each step reveals nuances you had never considered. You feel the rhythm of chance humming beneath your feet. It is like the tide brushing against a shore you thought was fixed, only to reveal sand that has shifted, rearranged itself, accommodating a flow that never really stops. In this quiet movement, you see how the universe is never entirely rigid. There is always a whisper of passage, a hidden corridor for the patient and the perceptive. You recall the scientists who first glimpsed this behavior. They imagined electrons pressed against barriers that, in classical physics, would be insurmountable. And yet, through careful thought and patient measurement, they found that electrons sometimes appeared on the other side, as if the universe had winked and allowed a secret journey. You smile gently, recognizing that every breakthrough in understanding comes not from forcing the world, but from listening to the quiet possibilities it offers. Breathe slowly. Feel the paradox settle in your chest, solidity and permeability, certainty and chance, presence and absence, all existing in one delicate balance. You notice how your own thoughts mirror this behavior. Often, you meet obstacles in your mind, ideas that seem impossible to reconcile. And yet, sometimes, through patience or intuition, you discover a subtle doorway, a small shift that lets understanding slip through. The universe and your mind are not so different. Both are layered with probabilities, both are soft if observed carefully, and both allow for passage where it seems forbidden. Step closer again to the wall in your imagination. You place your hand on its surface, feeling the warmth of possibility beneath the cold veneer of expectation. Here, in this quiet act, you understand a deeper truth. Barriers exist not only to confine but to reveal the subtle elegance of movement. They define space, yet they invite exploration. They are not merely walls, they are guides, prompting you to observe, to wonder, to move with awareness. You see a particle approaching once more. It hesitates, as if aware of your gaze. Then it passes, leaving behind a faint shimmer, a trace of the improbable journey it has taken. You recognize that this shimmer is everywhere, in every moment, in every quiet choice or small act of courage. Tunneling is not only a physical phenomenon, it is a metaphor, a gentle reminder that obstacles can be navigated, that what seems impossible may already have a pathway hidden from casual view. The light around you shifts. It does not rush, nor does it push. It simply changes, revealing the subtle contours of the wall and the fleeting trails of particles that have passed through it. You notice patterns forming, delicate, invisible lines of motion that trace countless improbable journeys. In each, there is a story of persistence, of probability, of the quiet insistence that existence, even when constrained, finds a way to express itself fully. Imagine that you too are a particle, approaching the walls in your own life. Some are physical, some are emotional, some are woven from memory and habit. Each barrier seems absolute. Each has the weight of certainty. And yet, just as electrons slip through walls, you have ways to navigate that are not always visible to the eye. There are doorways in paradox, moments of insight, shifts in perception that allow you to cross thresholds quietly, gracefully, without force. You lean back, resting your head against the soft light of this imagined universe. Feel the gentle pulse of possibility. The world does not demand that you conquer or push, it invites that you notice and participate. Each step you take, each quiet observation, is a form of tunneling, a passage through what seems immovable. You understand that this patience is not idle, it is active, a gentle engagement with the rhythms that underlie all things. Time here moves differently. It stretches and bends, like a slow wave rolling over sand. You notice your breath, even, following the same rhythm. Inhale, small and deliberate. Exhale, releasing tension, expectation, certainty. The barrier you once perceived as immutable now feels porous, alive with tiny hints of passage. You are learning the language of the improbable, the soft art of slipping through without disturbance, without noise, without force. The particle has gone, leaving only a faint resonance of its journey. And yet, you feel that it is everywhere, in every place you might step next. The wall is still there, and yet it is not. Your mind has expanded, just a fraction, to include a broader conception of what is possible. You sense that this is only the beginning, that behind each barrier, each boundary, there are threads of potential waiting to be discovered, to be touched lightly, to be understood. A soft thought drifts through you. Perhaps the universe is less a series of blocks and walls than a delicate web of openings. Perhaps existence itself encourages gentle passage, provided one moves with awareness, patience, and curiosity. You feel the quiet pulse of energy around you, the slow, constant murmur of possibility, reminding you that the improbable is not only real, it is fundamental. And now, as you step back from the wall, you carry this knowledge with you. Not as certainty, but as a quiet invitation. There are more walls, more barriers in the world and within yourself, each one offering the chance to witness the subtle miracle of tunneling, the gentle dance of possibility. You take a soft, deliberate breath, feeling the warmth of the journey ahead, the path that opens gradually, quietly, just beyond what seems impassable. Your eyes rest on the horizon, where light bends in a way you cannot yet fully name. You know that the journey through the improbable is only beginning, and that each step will reveal new whispers of movement, new echoes of possibilities that were always present, waiting for you to notice them. The wall has taught you patience, presence, and the quiet magic of slipping through. And beyond it, another question stirs softly, promising yet another doorway, another gentle passage through the hidden architecture of the universe. You step softly into the space where certainty fades, where the edges of things are no longer rigid, no longer demanding a single definition. Here, the universe exhales gently, reminding you that the world is a poem in motion. Each particle, each glimmer of light, each quiet vibration carries a story that cannot be pinned down completely. You are invited to move slowly, to observe without expectation, to listen to the whisper of possibility itself. Imagine a tiny particle, a point of energy no larger than a thought. You might think you can capture it, hold it still in your mind, assign it a position, a speed, a purpose. But as soon as you try, the universe smiles and shifts. Its position becomes fuzzy. Its motion dances unpredictably. Heisenberg's uncertainty is not a rule to fear, but a gentle pulse beneath the fabric of reality, a rhythm that teaches you about the tender, breathing life of the cosmos. You feel it when you let go of precision, when you stop trying to measure everything at once. There is a liberation in knowing that you cannot know it all. The particle's dance is yours to witness, a quiet ballet of endless potential. In some moments, it seems still, hovering in a soft glow of awareness. In others, it darts unpredictably, a tiny spark of curiosity, reminding you that life itself cannot be confined. Notice the space between certainty and uncertainty. It is not emptiness. It is the soft, fertile soil from which all possibilities grow. Imagine tossing a pebble into a pond. You see the ripples, but the exact path each wave will follow is never fixed. That is the world of uncertainty, the gentle sway between here and there, between now and what might come next. You are not separate from it, you are part of the rhythm, part of the soft breathing of potential. Your mind might seek solid ground, a place to anchor thoughts. But here, the ground is not solid, it is a quiet cloud, pliant and forgiving. You are invited to float, to let your attention drift over the undulating surface of the universe. Observe how the particle's position shifts, how its momentum flows, like a slow, deliberate current in a river whose depth you cannot measure. It is not frightening. It is a lullaby that rocks you gently, a story told in the language of possibility. Consider the vastness of this dance. Every particle, every atom, every flicker of energy is engaged in its own uncertain ballet. The world is a tapestry of interwoven probabilities, a mosaic of outcomes that is constantly reshaping itself. In this fluid landscape, you begin to sense a new kind of intimacy, a connection to everything that moves, to everything that sways, to everything that simply exists in its own quiet uncertainty. You notice that the act of watching does not interfere as you might expect. To witness the dance is to become part of it. Your curiosity, your awareness, your gentle attention adds a soft hue to the infinite palette of possibility. You do not control it, but you influence it. You are a quiet companion to the rhythm of particles, to the delicate sway of energy, to the tender uncertainty that hums through all things. Time itself seems to bend in this space. Seconds lose their harsh edges and melt into each other, moments folding softly into moments, like fabric draped over a slow, winding river. You realize that uncertainty is not a void but a gentle, sustaining presence. It holds space for growth, for exploration, for quiet surprises. And you, too, can move in this space without urgency, without fear, with the calm understanding that some things are meant only to be experienced, not captured. Let your senses drift to the tiniest of motions. Perhaps you feel the faint trembling of a distant star, the subtle vibration of atoms in a grain of sand, the soft pulse of energy beneath your skin. Every motion carries a story of uncertainty. Every flicker of presence is a reminder that the world is alive, not as a machine of fixed rules, but as a breathing poem. You are not separate from it. You are the quiet heart that listens to the lullaby. You notice how even the familiar becomes mysterious. The chair you sit on, the light that spills through the window, the air that brushes softly against your skin, all are composed of particles whose paths are never fixed. The certainty you once clung to dissolves, and in its place, a soft wonder blooms. To let go of rigid expectation is to see the infinite dance behind every surface, to hear the quiet song beneath every form. And in this place, uncertainty is not lonely. It is a gentle companion, a soft hand guiding you through the corridors of the unseen. You feel the humility of presence, the quiet gratitude for the subtle play of reality. Every possibility that has not yet been chosen floats around you like a soft breeze. You inhale it. You exhale it. You are part of the eternal sway, the gentle oscillation between here and there, between known and unknown. You begin to understand that uncertainty is a gift. It invites creativity, nurtures patience, and teaches the soft, enduring art of waiting. To live within its embrace is to see life not as a puzzle to solve, but as a story unfolding. You can watch, you can participate, you can gently influence, but you cannot dictate. And in that freedom, there is an intimacy, a quiet joy, a deepening sense of connection to the vast, breathing universe. Perhaps you imagine a single particle again. You feel its motion, its restlessness, its quiet unpredictability. You know that you cannot pin it down completely. Yet the more you surrender to the dance, the more you sense its beauty, its quiet poetry, its soft logic. This is not chaos. This is the tender, woven structure of life itself, a reminder that what is uncertain is also what is most alive, most vibrant, most deeply felt. And now, as your awareness drifts, you realize that this gentle uncertainty mirrors the movement of your own thoughts. You can notice your breath, the flow of ideas, the subtle flickers of imagination. You are part of the dance, both observer and participant, swaying with the soft rhythm of possibilities. There is a quiet magic in this surrender, a softness that nurtures the mind, the heart, the soul. You carry this understanding forward, knowing that the next rhythm, the next revelation, waits gently beyond the horizon, soft, inviting, ready to guide you into the next chapter of the universe's quiet story. You begin by imagining a single particle, a tiny speck of matter that holds more than it seems. It is not rigid, not fixed, not confined to a single point. Instead, it spreads, like a faint shimmer across a quiet pond. You sense it not only exists in one place but in many, a soft cloud of potential stretching in invisible waves. Each wave is a possibility, each crest a chance, and every trough an option that might never manifest. You lean into this rhythm, allowing your mind to flow alongside it, to float in the gentle uncertainty that defines its existence. As you drift, you see a wall ahead. It is solid, unwavering, unyielding, or so it seems. You step closer, and the particle reaches the boundary, brushing against it. Yet, the particle does not collide like a stone against stone. Instead, it spreads over, around, and even through. It hints that certainty is not absolute. The wall is softened in the presence of probability. What seemed impenetrable becomes a horizon of potential paths, each one carrying a whisper of what could be. You notice that the world you thought was so strict and linear is, in fact, more fluid, more nuanced. Your attention shifts to the wave itself. It is beautiful, flowing, and alive in a quiet, invisible manner. The crests rise, the troughs dip, and the wave never stays the same. It folds in on itself, spreads outward, and disappears, only to reappear elsewhere. You begin to understand that this is not disorder, it is the universe's own language, a story written in possibilities. Every crest is a decision, every dip a reflection of what might not come to pass. You move along its undulations, letting yourself be carried by the rhythm, feeling a gentle certainty in uncertainty, a comfort in not knowing exactly what will happen. Time seems to slow. You observe countless particles, each dancing their own dance, each a cloud of probabilities. They do not collide in the way you once imagined. They interfere, overlap, and sometimes vanish only to appear in new ways. You watch a particle approach a slit, and instead of hitting it like a ball, it spreads, flowing through both openings simultaneously. You feel the elegance of this motion, the quiet poetry in the fact that the universe allows something to exist in multiple states at once, that it is not bound to a single outcome. The notion of here or there blurs, and you sense the gentle hum of infinite possibilities vibrating all around. Your mind drifts into a reflection on your own life. How often have you thought in absolutes, fixed rules, and rigid paths? Yet, here in this microscopic dance, the particle seems to tell you that existence itself is not so strict. There is softness, flexibility, a spectrum of potential. You feel this ripple extend outward, touching not only atoms and walls but your own perceptions, gently reshaping your understanding of certainty. You recognize that what appears solid might only be solid in your imagination, and that embracing possibility can be as natural as breathing. You float along this wave of potential. You imagine yourself shrinking to the scale of the particle, slipping into the subtlety of its existence. Every motion you observe is both particle and wave, certain and uncertain, present and not yet realized. You glide through probabilities, sensing the delicate patterns that guide interactions. The wave spreads, overlapping with others, creating interference patterns that shimmer in the quiet. Some crests strengthen, some fade, yet all contribute to the ongoing story. You feel a serene connection, as if you are participating in the cosmic dance, not as a fixed observer, but as a gentle companion. You notice that the wall that once seemed solid is not an end but a beginning. The particle does not simply bounce off, it brushes, spreads, and continues, revealing that the universe often prefers to explore multiple routes rather than enforce a single answer. You sense that the boundaries you encounter in life are similar, not always barriers, but opportunities to observe, to reflect, to find subtle pathways that might have been invisible before. This gentle realization fills you with a calm curiosity, a patience for the unfolding of events, and a trust in the quiet logic of possibility. Light shifts in your mind as you watch the waves of probability interact. Constructive interference forms regions of higher likelihood, destructive interference creates voids where something may never occur. You see the elegance in this interplay, the artistry in how existence balances chance and order. Every crest, every trough, every ripple has a role, and together they compose a quiet symphony. You realize that the universe is less like a machine and more like music, a melody of probabilities unfolding softly, inviting you to listen, to feel, to understand. The particle moves again, and you follow its path. Its motion is gentle, unpredictable, yet governed by a subtle harmony. You feel yourself merging with its rhythm, sensing the wave as if it were an extension of your own awareness. Each probability is a breath, each fluctuation a heartbeat. You begin to notice patterns not as rules, but as suggestions, guiding without forcing. The particle whispers that life, too, contains a multitude of possible outcomes, and that by observing and embracing them, you are participating in the flow rather than resisting it. You ponder the infinite tapestry of possibilities that stretches before you. Particles, waves, crests, and troughs all interweave, forming a pattern too vast to contain yet gentle enough to touch in small moments. You feel awe, not as a pressure to understand everything, but as a tender invitation to notice, to feel, to appreciate the subtle dance of existence. Each particle's ripple resonates with countless others, suggesting that even the smallest action can spread quietly through space and time, like a gentle tide reaching unseen shores. Your awareness softens further. You sense the universe as an expansive field of possibility, where certainty is rare, and wonder is abundant. You drift with the particle, moving through probability and potential, noticing how even the boundaries of existence are fluid, pliable, and open to interpretation. In this quiet observation, you discover a sense of ease. The world is not demanding you grasp every certainty, but instead invites you to float along its ripples, to notice patterns without clinging, to participate without controlling. And as the particle continues its journey, you feel a gentle anticipation. What lies beyond the next wave? What awaits past the boundaries that once seemed fixed? You sense that each ripple, each crest, each spread of probability carries a quiet lesson about possibility itself. You let yourself drift, not seeking answers, but embracing the soft, meditative unfolding of the universe, feeling the subtle guidance of chance and the gentle rhythm of existence. You sit quietly, feeling the gentle weight of stillness around you. In the soft dark of your mind, a tiny particle hums, vibrating with possibility. Though invisible to your eyes, it exists fully in this moment, a dancer in a cosmic theater where the stage is made of probabilities. Imagine the walls of this theater, solid, forbidding, a line of reason that seems absolute. And yet, sometimes, without a knock or a plea, the dancer passes through the barrier as if it had never been there at all. This is quantum tunneling, a subtle miracle hiding in the quiet rules of the universe. Think of a mountain rising sharply before you. Its peak is unreachable, its slopes steep and immovable. You might believe that no path exists over the rock and stone. Yet, in the world of the very small, nature whispers, and the mountain's essence shivers. The particle, tiny and delicate, approaches the barrier and feels, instead of denial, a secret permission. It borrows just enough energy from the surrounding emptiness to pass through. The wall, which seemed absolute, trembles at the brush of possibility and allows passage that seems impossible, fleeting and miraculous. The vacuum, the space between what exists and what does not, is alive with quiet generosity. In this emptiness, particles can borrow energy like a whispered loan, temporary and precise. They cross thresholds without force, without breaking rules, because the rules themselves allow such gentle exception. No one watches, no ledger notes the transaction, yet the universe hums in balance. Every borrowed moment is returned, every fleeting freedom accounted for, in a cycle so precise it almost feels like a heartbeat. Close your eyes and picture this, a tiny particle, so small that the word small is almost meaningless, facing an invisible wall. It pauses, and in that pause, it senses something extraordinary. The universe offers a path that logic alone cannot see. It steps forward, gliding through the barrier in a quiet act of trust. On the other side, it continues as though it has always belonged there. No trace remains of the struggle, only the soft echo of potential realized. This is not magic, though it feels like it. It is the hidden generosity of physics, a reminder that the world is larger than your eyes can see, and kinder than your fears can imagine. Imagine now a river flowing against a dam. To the eye, the water seems halted, constrained by solid stone. But in the quantum world, water behaves differently. Droplets, almost imperceptibly, find their way through cracks too small to see, tunnels beneath the surface, paths carved by possibility itself. The river moves forward, patient, imperceptible, a testament to persistence beyond apparent limits. You can see here a reflection of your own mind, moments of insight, intuition, and sudden clarity slipping through barriers you once thought permanent. Quantum tunneling is not an act of rebellion, nor of chaos. It is a whisper of permission within the universe's precise order. The particle's movement is both daring and necessary, an expression of potential realized in perfect timing. Just as a soft wind can stir leaves without breaking branches, the particle moves without violence, crossing boundaries that would seem, in another scale, insurmountable. Every leap is a careful negotiation between possibility and law, a dance on the edge of what is allowed. Now feel the texture of this dance. It is not hurried, it is deliberate. It is measured in moments too brief for the mind to catch yet long enough to change the outcome of existence itself. The particle does not wrestle with the wall, it moves in quiet communion with it. The barrier is both obstacle and partner, and in the act of passing through, the universe demonstrates a truth that is both humbling and comforting. Even the impossible may have a path. In this quiet, you realize that tunneling is not just about particles. It is about the hidden spaces in your own life, the subtle allowances that make growth possible. Perhaps it is a thought that slips past doubt, an idea that crosses a mental wall you believed unbreakable, or a feeling that passes silently from one heart to another. Just like the particle, you may find a way through, borrowed energy from unseen sources, enough to move forward in secret grace. Consider the fleeting nature of the borrowed energy itself. It is not permanent, it is a gift that must be returned. In this, there is a lesson. Nothing in the universe takes without balance. What is lent must eventually return, in perfect harmony, restoring equilibrium without drama or fanfare. The particle does not hoard, does not linger. It passes, completes its task, and disappears into the fabric of being, leaving no residue except the memory of possibility. Even the walls, once crossed, are unchanged in their essence. The barrier still stands, formidable to others who approach, yet it has already granted a secret passage to those attuned to its subtle invitation. In this, there is a quiet encouragement. The universe does not collapse under impossibility. It offers opportunities that are discreet, temporary, and precise. Your challenges may feel solid, unyielding, but within the quantum rhythm of reality, there are moments where the impossible can be touched, if only softly, if only briefly. The particle's journey is not heroic in a human sense, nor is it reckless. It is ordinary, yet extraordinary. It follows the rules, yet discovers freedom within them. It is both constrained and limitless, bound by energy conservation and liberated by uncertainty. Here, you glimpse the gentle poetry of science, where mathematics and physics are not dry formulas, but guides to understanding the subtle art of possibility. As you breathe in this knowledge, you may feel a sense of kinship with the smallest actors in the universe. Their hidden leaps, their quiet negotiations with barriers, echo your own moments of courage. There is beauty in this alignment. The laws of nature are not rigid tyrants, but flexible frameworks that allow for grace. The particle's passage is a gentle reassurance that even in seeming limitation, there exists potential for movement, for change, for unexpected passage. Now imagine watching countless particles, each a tiny whisper of motion, each borrowing from the vacuum in a fleeting act of trust. Together, they form a silent chorus, a rhythm of life on the tiniest scales, unobserved yet essential. Their actions, multiplied across space and time, influence worlds in ways subtle yet profound. You, too, are part of this rhythm. Every thought, every act of quiet courage, every gentle choice to move forward resonates with the same principle. The universe permits passage, often where you least expect it. And so, in the quiet of your mind, you may feel a subtle shift. Barriers you once saw as absolute may shimmer with possibility. The world may not be as fixed as you believed. Like the particle, you can navigate obstacles with borrowed strength, temporary insight, and the gentle certainty that balance will be restored. The wall is still there, yet you are already beyond it in your awareness, in the silent proof that passage exists, even when invisible. Let this knowledge settle as a soft hum beneath your thoughts. The universe contains hidden generosity, subtle rules that allow the impossible for a moment. It is not chaos, not luck, but a precise, elegant dance of energy and possibility. In the silence, you sense the same principle reflected in your own life. Moments of courage, insight, and quiet movement are always possible, if only for a brief, precious instant. And as the chapter draws to its gentle close, you rest in this thought. Some walls are meant to be crossed quietly, with borrowed energy, and a deep trust in the universe's unseen rhythm. Your passage, like the particles, leaves no trace but the memory of possibility, and the soft opening into the next mystery waiting just beyond. You feel the sun's gentle warmth spilling across your skin, soft and familiar, a touch that seems to seep straight into your bones. It is quiet here, the hum of the world hushed as if the air itself bends to let you rest. Each ray of light carries more than heat, it carries a story, a secret dance that begins far inside the heart of the sun. You cannot see it, yet it shapes the universe, guiding particles, light, and life itself. Deep within that fiery sphere, where temperatures soar beyond imagination and pressure crushes in endless waves, protons, tiny, charged specks, move with a frenetic energy. You might imagine them like dancers in a crowded hall, each vying for a space to perform, yet always colliding, always spinning in patterns dictated by the strict rules of nature. Classical physics would tell you these protons cannot touch, cannot merge, cannot cross the walls of energy that rise like invisible mountains between them. And yet, they do. They slip, mysteriously, as if the barriers themselves are soft and yielding. This is quantum tunneling, a phenomenon so subtle and delicate that it almost feels like magic. Protons, bound by impossibility, find themselves on the other side of barriers that, by all accounts, should never be crossed. It is not force that moves them, not brute strength, but the gentle probability that whispers, perhaps, just perhaps, it will happen. You breathe in slowly, imagining the sun's core as a chamber where these tiny travelers glide through walls of energy, merging in a quiet explosion of light and heat. Each fusion releases a pulse, a heartbeat of energy that begins a journey outward. It travels for thousands of years, bouncing through layers of plasma, slowing, twisting, stretching, until it finally escapes to touch your skin. Right now, this very warmth on your arm, on your face, is the result of countless protons daring to tunnel through impossibility. There is a rhythm here, a soft cadence that mirrors your own heartbeat. The sun itself is a meditation, a quiet persistence. You realize that the light and heat that surround you are not just random, they are the culmination of countless microscopic acts of courage, chance, and patience. The universe, it seems, operates on probabilities, on tiny doors opening where walls once stood. And you, lying here in the gentle quiet, are a witness to this cosmic patience. The energy of the sun does not arrive all at once. It trickles, drifts, and spreads, moving through layers of atoms that vibrate and pulse, whispering secrets from the core. Photons begin their journey trapped, bouncing endlessly, being absorbed and re-emitted, slowing as if hesitant to leave their place of origin. They wander, often for 1,000,000 years, before they finally break free, released to travel the final stretch across space. By the time the sunlight warms your skin, it has traversed an eternity, a testament to persistence, to quiet courage against impossible odds. You let yourself marvel at the paradox. Inside the sun, conditions are violent, extreme, crushing, yet from that chaos comes the soft gift you feel here, on your skin. There is a gentle poetry in that, a reminder that creation often grows in places we cannot witness directly. What seems small, impossible, or hidden can ripple outward into something magnificent. The sun's quiet fusion, the tunneling of particles, becomes a lullaby that drifts over you, wrapping your mind in both wonder and calm. And yet, this story is not just about stars. It is about the subtle rules that govern all of existence. Tunneling is a doorway, a reminder that nature has possibilities beyond the obvious. In the microscopic world, walls can be porous, limits can bend, and outcomes can unfold in ways that surprise even the most certain predictions. Life, thought, and light all emerge from this uncertainty, dancing in patterns that are orderly yet free. Imagine now, in your mind's eye, the countless stars scattered across the night sky. Each one burns, not by force alone, but by the gentle art of tunneling, by the courage of particles crossing impossible thresholds. Their light travels vast distances, touching planets, oceans, forests, and the very ground beneath your feet. Somewhere out there, your warmth is mirrored in the glow of another world, another being feeling the soft touch of photons born in quantum leaps, billions of miles away. As you trace this thought, notice the intimacy of it. You are part of a story that began long before you existed, yet it continues in this quiet moment. The universe, in its patient unfolding, whispers to you in heat, in light, in probability. The fusion inside the sun is a mirror of every subtle leap you take in life, the quiet choices that, over time, shape worlds. You recognize in this cosmic rhythm a kind of kinship. Even particles, trapped by rules, find ways to connect, to release energy, to become something greater. You feel the skin under your fingers, warm, alive, and it is almost a meditation. Here is the proof of tunneling, not in your mind, but in sensation. Science tells you the mechanism, quantum probabilities, fusion reactions, photon travel, but it also lets you feel the poetry of it. Knowledge and experience blend together. The universe is both explanation and touch, theory and sensation. There is comfort in this duality, a reminder that understanding need not diminish wonder. And now, as the light shifts across your surroundings, you notice shadows stretching and softening, revealing textures that were invisible moments ago. Each flicker of illumination is a subtle reminder of the journey light has taken. It passed through impossibility to arrive here, where it bends around corners and glances off walls, bringing shape and warmth to your world. The fusion inside the sun, the tunneling of particles, is an invisible choreography, yet its effect is tangible, a room, a face, a hand held in quiet awareness. You begin to imagine other kinds of tunneling, the small acts in your life that bridge what seems unbridgeable, the thoughts that cross the walls of doubt, the quiet moments when courage slips through the barriers of fear. The universe, in teaching you about protons, offers a gentle reflection on your own capacity to traverse impossibility. There is a symmetry here, a whisper of connection between the dance of atoms and the rhythm of your heart. The sun's warmth becomes a mantra, a gentle pulse in sync with your own breathing. You inhale slowly, feeling the energy move inward, and exhale, imagining the release of light from your own being into the world. Tunneling, you realize, is not just a property of particles, it is a principle of persistence, a quiet insistence that the improbable can and will happen, eventually. There is patience in every quantum leap, a deliberate softness that allows energy to flow. As your mind drifts, you picture the sun from afar, a golden sphere spinning silently in the vast darkness of space. Inside, a tumult of protons swirls, fuses, and releases light that travels across millions of kilometers. And yet, for all its power, the energy reaches you gently, not with force but with touch, a reminder that the most extraordinary processes can manifest in calm, unassuming ways. You feel gratitude for the quiet bravery of these particles, and for the invisible hands of nature that make your comfort possible. You notice the slow fading of shadows as your surroundings adjust to the afternoon's light, and the thought crosses your mind: if the sun's energy can emerge from the improbable, so can your own acts of creation, small or large. There is a continuity in this reflection, a thread linking the cosmos to your daily experience. Each moment of warmth, each sensation of comfort, is a testament to patience, to hidden journeys, to probabilities realized. And as your eyelids grow heavy, and your thoughts drift toward the stillness of night, you let yourself rest in the gentle certainty that the universe is generous. The sun, by tunneling, provides warmth; life, by chance and choice, provides moments of insight. And in this soft interplay between impossibility and manifestation, you are cradled in a quiet understanding. The warmth on your skin is more than heat, it is the echo of countless unseen leaps, the testimony of particles daring to cross boundaries that seem insurmountable. You are part of this continuum, touched by the patient unfolding of energy and light, comforted by the knowledge that what seems impossible may, with time, quietly become reality. And now, as your mind begins to wander toward dreams, you feel a soft question forming at the edge of awareness. If the sun's core can teach us about courage and the improbable, what other hidden forces shape the gentle miracles that surround us every day? You settle into the quiet space between wakefulness and sleep. Your body feels heavy, yet alive, an intricate symphony of unseen motion. Deep within, tiny engines of life hum with a gentle persistence that defies awareness. Here, in the dim corridors of your cells, electrons glide through barriers, hopping and sliding in ways that seem impossible, yet they do so effortlessly. Each one carries a fragment of energy, a whisper of intention, shaping the machinery of life with astonishing precision. In your mind's eye, you see enzymes bending and flexing like dancers, their movements fluid, purposeful, choreographed by laws older than the stars. They pull molecules together, nudging them just so, coaxing bonds to form and break, making reactions that sustain every beat of your heart, every inhalation of breath. The world inside you is quiet, but not empty. It hums with a rhythm that is as old as life itself. Breathing slowly, you notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Each inhalation draws in oxygen, the fuel for countless tiny fires burning unseen. Oxygen slips into cells, slipping into mitochondria, the power stations within you. Here, a chemical ballet unfolds. Sugars are broken down, electrons carried along invisible paths, energy stored in molecules small yet potent. This energy will awaken your muscles, nourish your thoughts, even flicker as light in your eyes when you dream. It is a quiet miracle, persistent and tireless, performed without thought or effort, yet precise and miraculous. You imagine the electrons themselves, elusive travelers jumping from molecule to molecule, guided by quantum rules that seem strange and counterintuitive. They tunnel through barriers that would confound any ordinary object, disappearing on one side and appearing on the other, defying your intuition. And yet, this improbable dance is what keeps your cells alive, your heart beating, your mind thinking. It is a reminder that the universe operates with both wonder and rigor, that the strange can be beautiful, that life itself is stitched together from probabilities and possibilities. Your heartbeat echoes softly, a drum keeping time with the hidden symphony within. Each contraction of the heart sends a surge of blood carrying oxygen, nutrients, and tiny chemical messengers. These molecules drift like quiet travelers through rivers of life, whispering signals, changing shapes, opening doors in cells, making sure that every tissue receives what it needs. Even when you are still, even when you imagine yourself perfectly motionless, this movement never ceases. It is a lullaby of precision, performed without audience or applause, yet essential to your existence. Think of the proteins, long chains folded into delicate forms, each curve and twist a key to a function so precise it seems almost magical. They move with intention, not conscious, yet perfectly suited to their tasks. Some ferry messages, others repair damage, and still others transform energy. Their motions are subtle, almost imperceptible, yet without them, nothing would work. And the most extraordinary part is that all of this occurs because of tiny, invisible forces, electrical charges, magnetic nudges, and quantum flutters that escape our ordinary perception. You feel a gentle awareness of your lungs, how they inflate and deflate with ease, how the air is warmed, filtered, and drawn into tiny sacs called alveoli. Here, oxygen kisses the blood, slipping past membranes thinner than a whisper, joining hemoglobin molecules that will carry it faithfully to every corner of your body. At the same time, carbon dioxide, a silent byproduct of life, makes its journey out, leaving as quietly as it came. This exchange is unceasing, a calm rhythm that allows you to exist in comfort, often unnoticed, yet vital to the fragile miracle that is you. Now imagine the neurons in your brain, electrical signals hopping along axons, chemical messengers leaping across synapses. Thoughts emerge as patterns of these signals, delicate arrangements that shift and flow with every memory, sensation, and feeling. Even as your eyelids grow heavy, your brain remains alive with tiny sparks, a universe within, echoing the larger cosmos outside. And just as electrons tunnel to make chemical reactions possible, so too do these signals navigate barriers, bridging gaps in ways that feel almost miraculous. The temperature of your body, the subtle chemical balance in your blood, the gentle pulse of ions moving across membranes, all of it forms a quiet, self-regulating system. This system is a conversation, an endless negotiation between countless tiny actors, each unaware of the whole, yet perfectly synchronized to create life. You realize that your calm breathing, your heartbeat, your thoughts, are the visible reflections of invisible marvels, miracles of probability and pattern. Consider the energy flowing through you, first captured from the sun billions of years ago in leaves, stored in chemical bonds, and now coursing through your cells. You are connected to that ancient light, part of a chain that stretches far beyond your body. Each breath, each heartbeat, is a continuation of that story, a whisper from the distant past, shaping the present, sustaining the delicate architecture of you. There is awe in this realization, but also a soothing comfort. You are held in a current larger than yourself, invisible yet reliable, improbable yet assured. As you lie there, still, you notice the quiet coordination of all your systems. Muscles relax, yet remain poised to respond. Neurons fire in gentle rhythms. Your heart and lungs work together with astonishing harmony. Even as you drift toward sleep, this internal symphony continues, each element playing its part, no conductor needed, no audience watching. It is life in its most intimate form, quiet, patient, relentless, and beautiful. And as your mind drifts further into calm, you sense that these tiny dances, the tunneling electrons, the folding proteins, the flickering chemical signals, are not merely background processes. They are the foundation of consciousness, sensation, and being. They remind you that even in stillness, the improbable is happening continuously. They invite a gentle wonder, a meditation on the astonishing fact of simply existing. Slowly, you feel the boundary between inside and outside blur. The machinery of your body seems part of a larger rhythm, the slow dance of night air outside your window, the faint hum of the earth itself, and the distant twinkle of stars. Within and without, motion flows, energy circulates, and life, improbable and delicate, persists. You sense that every inhalation, every electrical spark, every tunneling electron, is part of a story still unfolding, a story that will continue beyond this night. And in this quiet, meditative awareness, you lie still, marveling at how fragile miracles sustain you, how each tiny process contributes to the whole. You feel the improbability of your existence, yet it is real, tangible, present. You sense the continuity of life inside you, quietly preparing you for the mysteries waiting in the next breath, the next thought, the next chapter of this internal journey. You close your eyes and imagine a world smaller than a grain of sand, smaller than the tip of a pencil. Here, particles move not as solid blocks, but as whispers of possibility. Electrons, the tiny sparks of energy, hesitate at barriers they should not cross. And yet, sometimes, they do. They tunnel. This is not magic, though it feels like it. This is the quiet, strange poetry of quantum mechanics unfolding beneath your awareness. In the early days, tunneling was an enigma. The mathematics whispered of particles slipping through walls, passing through barriers as if the walls were not there. Scientists scratched their heads. How could something move where it seemingly should not? It was invisible, untouchable, yet real, a paradox that teased the mind and delighted the imagination. You picture it, an electron, like a ghost, disappearing on one side and reappearing on the other, leaving a faint trace in the wake of your thoughts. Time moves slowly here, because at this scale, time itself behaves differently. An electron does not rush, it does not hesitate. It is everywhere it can be, in probabilities, in potentialities. And yet, when you watch, when instruments gaze with their sensitive eyes, the electron emerges somewhat definite. Tunneling is the bridge between the abstract and the tangible, the unseen becoming the tool in your hand. The first practical applications arose quietly, as many great discoveries do. Semiconductors began to hum with possibility, as engineers learned to coax tunneling to work for them. They crafted thin layers of material, barriers almost laughably small, and watched electrons slip through like secret messengers. In your mind, you see the silicon lattices, neat as city streets, and the electrons moving through them with a rhythm invisible to ordinary sight. Each movement, each tunneling event, is a pulse of potential, a heartbeat of the microcosm that drives the devices surrounding you. Memory chips, the tiny libraries of your devices, store information through this very phenomenon. A bit of data, a 0 or a 1, is represented not just by position, but by the delicate probability of an electron's presence. You imagine yourself shrinking down, slipping into the gaps of these materials, tracing the path of an electron as it decides whether to stay or to tunnel. In this smallness, the impossible is normal. The walls that seem solid to your everyday hands are porous, alive with quantum opportunity. And there is more, the scanning tunneling microscope. Here, tunneling becomes vision itself. A sharp tip hovers over a surface so close you can imagine brushing it with your finger, though the distance is measured in atoms. Electrons tunnel between the tip and the surface, revealing a landscape of bumps and valleys smaller than your mind can naturally grasp. You drift through this microscopic world as if floating over alien terrain, each electron a tiny messenger illuminating contours and textures that cannot otherwise be seen. You notice how gentle it feels, this ability to touch without touching, to know without disturbing. Tunneling teaches patience. It is a slow, delicate interaction, requiring calm observation and steady hands. You feel this calmness seep into you, a meditative echo of the electron's own careful journey. There is no hurry, there is only presence, a quiet insistence that the smallest forces, when guided, create profound outcomes. You imagine the scientists, leaning over their instruments, listening to the soft whisper of tunneling currents, translating invisible dance into knowledge, into pictures, into devices that hum quietly around your life. Even in everyday technology, tunneling whispers to you. Flash memory in phones and cameras, the devices you hold without thought, rely on electrons moving against barriers in ways your intuition would never expect. You trace the journey of information, encoded in tiny pulses of tunneling events. Each byte is a story of impossibility made real, of quantum secrets folded into the fabric of human intention. And you realize how often the extraordinary hides in the ordinary, how marvels can be stitched into the surfaces of your world, unnoticed but essential. The beauty of tunneling is its duality, invisible yet effective, improbable yet certain. You ponder the paradox, allowing it to settle into your mind like a gentle stone in still water. There is something comforting in knowing that the universe allows for such quiet defiance of expectation. And there is something magical in noticing that your everyday tools are built upon this principle, that the world you inhabit is shaped not only by the obvious, the visible, but by tiny whispers of possibility beyond direct perception. In your drifting awareness, you begin to sense the continuity of scales. The electrons tunneling echoes the movement of your own thoughts, slipping past mental barriers, exploring landscapes unseen. Your attention moves like an electron, sometimes hesitant, sometimes decisive, always guided by potential. And just as electrons tunnel to bridge space that seems impassable, your mind bridges the known and the unknown, resting gently in the realization that discovery can be as quiet as it is profound. You notice the interplay of curiosity and patience. Scientists once puzzled, experimented, and learned to harness tunneling, yet the principle remains unchanged, independent of their understanding. It is a reminder that some truths exist quietly, awaiting gentle observation, not forceful interference. You breathe this lesson in, letting it mingle with the calm rhythm of your body, noticing how the subtle patterns of nature mirror the subtle patterns of thought and reflection. Tunneling is also a meditation on boundaries. A wall is not just a wall, a barrier not simply a barrier. There are always possibilities, even if they are unlikely. You feel this expand in your consciousness, letting the principle reach into your perception of the larger world. Limits exist, yet even in limits, there is a path through, a hidden thread connecting one side to another. You smile softly at the thought, the electron's journey is a metaphor for resilience, for subtlety, for the quiet persistence of reality bending toward possibility. And as you drift deeper, you sense that tunneling is not just a scientific tool but a poetic one. It embodies the elegance of the universe, complexity nested within simplicity, mystery tucked into the everyday, the extraordinary embedded in the mundane. Each electron slipping past a barrier mirrors the quiet courage of discovery, of noticing, of making something invisible suddenly meaningful. And in this recognition, you find comfort and wonder, a slow excitement that does not disturb but enfolds you. The world of tunneling leaves you with a lingering softness in your thoughts. You are aware of the invisible forces shaping your devices, your instruments, your reality. You imagine electrons slipping past barriers in perfect patience, each journey a gentle lesson in possibility. And as your mind begins to float toward sleep, you carry with you a sense of quiet awe, the knowledge that the impossible is never truly impossible, only waiting for the right conditions, the gentle guidance, and the patient observer. You sit quietly in the soft light of your room, noticing the slow rhythm of your breath. There is a wall before you, not one of bricks or mortar, but a subtle resistance that rests deep inside, built from whispers of hesitation, from moments you told yourself not yet or perhaps later. You feel it pressing gently against your chest, an invisible boundary, and yet, just like the physical walls of the universe, it is not always as solid as it seems. In physics, there is a strange and beautiful idea called quantum tunneling. At the tiniest scales, particles encounter barriers that, by ordinary rules, they should never cross. Yet, sometimes, they vanish from one side and appear on the other, not by smashing through, but by finding a passage where none seems to exist. They move through the impossible, effortlessly and quietly, without noise or collision. The barrier, though real, cannot entirely contain them. Imagine this: you are a particle. Your fears, your doubts, your old habits, they are the wall. And yet, within you, there is a possibility, almost imperceptible at first, that allows you to slip past. You do not charge violently against it, nor do you demand that it crumble. You simply notice a subtle trembling along its surface, a quantum shiver that hints at a passage. In that quiet, you begin to sense freedom. Your mind has built intricate barricades over the years. Some are memories you have tucked away, some are judgments from others, some are whispers of your own self-doubt. They can feel immovable. But science shows that what appears absolute can be probabilistic. Even the most impervious wall is not an end, it is a challenge of perspective, a hint to look closer, to see what might be possible if you let the rules of your inner world shift just slightly. Feel your attention on your hands. Your fingertips tingle with awareness, as if sensing the faint vibration of unseen particles. Tiny movements, almost imperceptible, are happening everywhere inside you. This is your own quantum field, the realm where small shifts accumulate, where possibilities quietly bloom. Every thought of courage, every whisper of kindness to yourself, every gentle intention is like a particle tunneling through the seeming impossibility of the wall. Each one does not demand you to leap, it simply moves, subtly, through what seemed impenetrable. Now, imagine the wall dissolving, not as a collapse, but as a gradual merging. The edge softens, the barrier becomes translucent. You can see through it, feel through it. Your doubt still exists, yes, but it no longer dominates the space. You notice the patterns within it, the layers of old thinking, the echoes of moments when you told yourself I cannot. And yet, you also see the potential beyond, the other side where ease, curiosity, and gentleness reside. Quantum tunneling is not about force, it is about probability. The particle does not choose to fight the wall, it simply exists in a way that allows the impossible to happen. So too with your inner resistance. You do not need to conquer it with willpower. You allow yourself to exist in a state where movement, however subtle, is possible. You imagine your heart, your mind, your body, quietly finding pathways that were hidden before. Visualize a particle's journey. It approaches the barrier. Classically, it should stop. The barrier is taller, denser than its own energy allows. And yet, there is a small, delicate chance, almost a whisper of possibility, that it will appear on the other side. This chance is not small in its effect. One particle passing through can lead to cascades, changes, and interactions unimaginable at first glance. Similarly, your gentle passage through your inner walls can ripple outward in ways you cannot yet perceive. Notice your chest. Feel the subtle shift as anxiety loosens its grip. Your mind may still murmur doubts, but there is space between them now, room to breathe, room to wonder. You are practicing a kind of meditation that mirrors quantum mechanics, observing, feeling, and trusting that the seemingly impossible can quietly occur. The wall does not vanish entirely, and it does not need to. Its presence reminds you of your growth, your awareness, your ability to witness and move without force. You do not annihilate it, you gently pass through, like the particle, by aligning with a possibility already present, a subtle fluctuation in the fabric of your own consciousness. You can imagine yourself stepping lightly, softly, into a place where resistance bends and shifts rather than holding firm. It is an act of trust, Trust in yourself, trust in the process, trust in the tender yet inexorable movement of your inner world. The journey is not about conquering fear, but about allowing the conditions where fear cannot entirely dictate your path. It is a movement of subtle courage, of patient persistence, of quiet attentiveness. As the invisible wall thins, you notice light spilling through cracks that were once opaque. This light is knowledge, curiosity, and self-compassion. It illuminates not only the path ahead but also the layers of yourself that have long been hidden. You feel the warmth of understanding that the boundaries within you are neither absolute nor permanent. They are invitations to explore, to experiment, to engage with your own inner possibilities. And so, you pause at the threshold of this passage. You do not rush. You do not force. You simply notice that the wall is no longer a barrier in the way you once imagined. You sense the particles of change, subtle and persistent, moving through, shifting the landscape of your mind with quiet grace. The world beyond the wall awaits with gentle curiosity. There are new ideas, new feelings, new perspectives, waiting just beyond the edge. And as you linger for a moment, letting your awareness expand, you understand that this is only the beginning. The science of particles has mirrored your inner life, showing you that movement is always possible, that change can be gentle, and that even the smallest passage can ripple across the vastness of your own experience. You breathe in the quiet, letting the universe unfold around you. Space stretches endlessly, and yet, within its vast expanse, there are mysteries whispered by phenomena too subtle to see directly. Quantum tunneling, a process you first imagined with particles and atoms, now begins to feel less like a trick of the tiny, and more like a guiding hand, gently nudging the large and the monumental. It is almost as if the universe itself hums with possibility, hinting that even the mightiest structures may have slipped through barriers unseen. You imagine a particle trapped behind a wall, a simple energy threshold that should hold it back. But instead, with a quiet defiance, it appears on the other side, as if reality briefly loosened its rules. You let this picture expand, stretching it across scales. Could a black hole, with its gravity so intense it swallows light, also be influenced by such subtlety? Might there be, hidden within its singularity, opportunities for matter to escape, or even for the very fabric of space-time to fold unexpectedly? You do not need answers yet. The questions themselves shimmer like distant stars, illuminating corners of your mind you rarely visit. Time softens in this meditation. You float along a river of thought, noticing how quantum events, normally ephemeral and fleeting, accumulate into tangible consequences. Electrons tunneling through barriers give rise to currents that power our devices. But in the vast theater of the cosmos, could analogous tunnels have guided events of cosmic scale? You envision clouds of primordial gas, collapsing and condensing under gravity's gentle insistence. Perhaps, somewhere within these clouds, the improbable became reality because the universe allowed a sliver of possibility to pass through a barrier otherwise insurmountable. You feel the weight of history, not just human history, but the history of the universe itself. The Big Bang, that brilliant and violent birth of time and space, may have been more than a singular explosion. Perhaps it was a moment of tunneling on a cosmic scale, a leap through a barrier that separated nothing from something. The thought is dizzying and delicate. You hold it as carefully as one might hold a candle in a drafty room, aware that its light may illuminate wonders or dissolve into shadows. Floating, you encounter black holes again. They are silent sentinels, their event horizons shimmering faintly in your mind's eye. You ponder Hawking radiation, the slow evaporation of these cosmic giants. Even in the depths of gravitational imprisonment, quantum effects persist. Particles emerge from the vacuum, as if the universe insists that nothing is ever truly still. Here, tunneling is no longer a curiosity confined to textbooks, it is a principle embedded in the rhythm of reality itself. You imagine standing on the edge of a black hole, feeling both the pull of gravity and the whisper of possibility. There is a beauty in understanding that the universe is never fully deterministic, never fully closed off. Possibility seeps through, quietly shaping outcomes on scales you cannot measure directly. You think about cosmology, the study of the universe as a whole. Galaxies swirl like clouds of ink in water, dark matter sculpting their forms invisibly. In this vast tapestry, tiny fluctuations in energy density can seed the formation of entire clusters of galaxies. You recognize a pattern emerging. What begins as a minute, almost imperceptible shift at a microscopic level can, given enough time, influence structures billions of times larger than the particle that started it. Tunneling, once a strange behavior of subatomic particles, now feels like a metaphor for creation itself. Possibility can breach barriers, probability can shape destiny, and even the universe may have emerged from a delicate nudge across a cosmic threshold. You drift further, feeling the gentle pull of curiosity. The early universe, a hot, dense soup of particles, could have been governed by tunneling in subtle ways. Phase transitions, moments when the cosmos cooled and forces separated, might have involved tunneling events that determined which type of vacuum the universe would occupy. You sense that your thoughts, while abstract, are tracing echoes of real phenomena, events whose consequences stretched across billions of years and unimaginable distances. The universe is a quiet architect, drafting entire realms from the interplay of chance and law. Your mind touches the edge of speculation. Could universes themselves be tunneling phenomena? In some theories of cosmology, what we perceive as our universe is merely one of many pockets, each separated by energy barriers that are insurmountable except through quantum leaps. You visualize a multiverse, a vast expanse of possibilities, each universe appearing as a bubble that tunneled through an invisible wall of nothingness. The thought is profound and calming, a reminder that existence itself is not fixed, not rigid, but a delicate balance of potential and realization. You feel a connection to every particle, every photon, every trembling quantum fluctuation. Tunneling is not just a process confined to laboratories or equations, it is the rhythm of becoming, the gentle insistence of the improbable nudging reality forward. You consider the implications. If particles can defy barriers, then perhaps life, creativity, and consciousness itself are emergent expressions of a universe that never truly closes off opportunity. The improbabilities that guide atoms also guide galaxies, and in some unknowable way, they guide you as you drift in your thoughts. The imagery of a cosmic lantern comes to mind. Each tunneling event, each improbable emergence, is like a spark along a dark path. You float, carrying your own lantern of awareness, illuminating ideas that might otherwise remain hidden in shadow. The universe is generous in its subtleties, offering glimpses of its processes to those willing to move slowly, to dwell on curiosity, to feel the weight of probability and the lightness of possibility. You return briefly to black holes, now thinking of them as cosmic laboratories, where tunneling occurs not just in particles, but perhaps in information itself. Hawking radiation suggests that black holes are not perfect prisons. They leak, they whisper, they offer evidence that even the most extreme environments are not immune to subtle effects. You let this idea settle, that at every scale, from the tiniest particle to the largest stellar remnant, the universe allows for the unexpected, the improbable, the miraculous. Your thoughts wander to time itself. Could the very flow of time be shaped by these small, probabilistic events? In a universe governed by both certainty and chance, the arrow of time may be more nuanced than you realized. Tunneling events, imperceptible, fleeting, accumulate, ripple outward, shaping causality in ways you cannot immediately perceive. Time, like space, is not merely a backdrop, it is a canvas upon which possibility paints, one subtle brushstroke at a time. You pause to reflect on the calmness that comes from understanding these principles. Tunneling is not chaotic, it is gentle, persistent, and shaping. It suggests that the universe is not a rigid machine, but a dynamic, living process, constantly negotiating the improbable. There is poetry in this realization. Existence itself is a negotiation between what is and what could be, between the walls that constrain and the possibilities that slip through. Your mind drifts to the edge of consciousness, touching ideas about creation itself. If the universe emerged through a tunneling-like event, what does that imply about the nature of existence? That reality, in its vastness, is fundamentally open to possibility. That nothingness itself may be permeable, waiting for a spark to leap across a threshold and begin the long, intricate unfolding of everything. You feel a quiet awe, a recognition that science and meditation are not opposites but companions in understanding. One illuminates the mechanisms, the other holds the wonder. You imagine the lantern of your thought floating alongside galaxies, alongside black holes, alongside the earliest moments of the cosmos. Each beam of light is a trace of curiosity, a reflection of the universe's gentle insistence on possibility. Tunneling is more than a physical process, it is a symbol, a metaphor, a rhythm that bridges scales from the minuscule to the cosmic. You float in its cadence, feeling both small and expansive, aware that the improbable events of the universe are mirrored in the improbable events of your own life and mind. As your thoughts begin to settle, you realize that this journey is continuous. The universe does not pause, it keeps tunneling, keeps whispering, keeps nudging possibility into reality. You drift, lantern in hand, knowing that the questions you hold, about black holes, about cosmic birth, about the flow of time, are companions that will guide you further, into realms of wonder where science and imagination intertwine. You stand beside the wall, a simple particle among many, and notice how still it seems. Yet stillness, you realize, is only an illusion, a gentle pause between moments of movement. The particle trembles faintly, not with fear, but with potential. You watch it, leaning closer, feeling the rhythm of its invisible heartbeat, as if the wall itself is breathing alongside you. There is no hurry here, only a quiet patience, the kind that encourages every particle to consider the possibility of motion, even when no path seems open. At first, the wall looks solid, an unyielding boundary that stops all forward progress. Your eyes trace the surface, seeing only the smooth, unbroken line of resistance. But beneath that line, you sense a subtler reality, a shadow of probability where the particle could, if it wished, find a way. This is the gentle magic of the quantum world. What appears impossible is rarely absolute. You imagine the particle as a small voyager, its tiny wave function stretching, curling, and exploring possibilities you cannot yet see. Each potential path feels like a soft brush of wind across your skin, whispering, "Try again. Move carefully. Feel where the unseen opens." The particle shifts, not abruptly, but as though stirred by a kind thought. Its energy is quiet, subtle, almost tender in its persistence. You notice that the barrier is not just physical, it is a conversation, a dialogue between presence and absence. The wall resists, yes, but it also listens. And when a particle lingers long enough, when it oscillates between hesitation and courage, the wall begins to respond. The air around it vibrates faintly with possibility, a whisper of light and shadow that hints at what might be. You feel your own breath slow, matching the rhythm of this unseen negotiation, as if your heart has become a resonance chamber for the quiet pulse of the universe. You imagine yourself as the particle, trembling lightly at the edge of what feels final. The world around you seems to pause, holding its collective breath. And then you sense it, a subtle invitation, the tiniest of openings, where what seemed impossible is suddenly imaginable. This is not force, it is the patient suggestion of nature, a gentle encouragement to explore. You are drawn forward, not by strength, but by curiosity, by the quiet insistence of possibility itself. And the particle, too, leans into this gentle coaxing, its wave-like self stretching just a little further along the boundary, probing, feeling, learning. Time seems suspended here. The wall is both the end and the beginning, a threshold between the familiar and the unknown. You recognize that barriers are rarely meant to block completely. They are, instead, invitations to perceive differently. The particle does not leap recklessly. It moves with a quiet deliberation, a soft patience that teaches you the beauty of measured attention. You sense that every attempt, every slight vibration against the wall, leaves a trace, an echo of effort in the probability cloud that surrounds all matter. The particle's motion is your motion, a shared rhythm between observer and observed, between curiosity and the world that waits to be known. Slowly, the particle finds a way to slip through, not with violence, but with a grace that feels almost like breathing. Its passage is unhurried, a delicate weaving between what is solid and what is ephemeral. You feel the world shift as it crosses the threshold, the wall dissolving not with sound, but with a faint awareness that the impossible was always merely a temporary frame. And in that crossing, you realize the quiet lesson. Nothing is truly final, and every boundary holds a tender possibility, waiting for a patient heart to notice. You linger in the afterglow of this small journey, watching how the particle moves on the other side. The universe seems to expand softly, as if acknowledging the courage it takes to approach, to pause, and then to pass through. You sense a rhythm here, a pulse that connects each moment, each particle, each barrier. The air hums faintly with the resonance of possibility, a gentle vibration that you feel not just with your mind, but with the very core of your being. And as you watch, you understand that every end carries the seed of a beginning, every wall the hint of a path yet unseen. And so, with the particle moving softly through what once seemed insurmountable, you feel a quiet shift in yourself. You recognize the delicate dance of hesitation and courage, the tender negotiation between presence and potential. The world has not changed in shape, yet everything feels more luminous, more open to the gentle persistence of curiosity. And as you breathe in this subtle revelation, your thoughts drift toward the next wonder, the next subtle threshold that waits to be discovered.